Today on Conversations That Convert, we're talking about architect and interior designer referrals. How and why and should a builder start a relationship and get more referral business? Let's get going.
Welcome to Conversations That Convert. Every week, we'll spend about 10 to 15 minutes tackling relevant lead generation, marketing, and sales topics for remodelers, home improvement companies, and home builders. Conversations That Convert is brought to you by Builder Lead Converter, your perfect sales assistant. And now, here's Rick and Diana.
Hey everyone, welcome to Conversations That Convert. Diana, how are you today?
Very well, thank you. Welcome, everyone. Excited to see what wants to happen and how we can generate more leads with our conversations.
Absolutely. So what's our topic?
Today, referrals, how to get more architect and interior design referrals for your custom home and, of course, your remodeling business.
Yeah, and this is all part of our 3 questions with Builder Lead Converter. And Diana, usually when I'm talking to a builder and I say, okay, how are you getting leads right now? Number 1 is always referrals. And it's typically client referrals, which we're going to talk about actually in the next episode is ways to increase client referrals. But there's also a big referral network out there with business-to-business referrals. So in the previous episode, we talked about realtor referrals and what you can do to start relationships there. And now we're going to talk about architect and interior design referrals. And the thing I love about business-to-business referrals is that it's a one-on-many relationship. And what I mean by that is that for every one good architect or interior design partner you have, you can get many referrals coming back to you. That's the power behind a business-to-business referral partner like that. Client referrals, they kind of come and go. Obviously, clients are more apt to refer you when they're in the design stages or just starting or just completing their project. What happens, of course, is with the business-to-business referrals is that you want to partner with somebody who goes after the same target market as you do. And obviously, they offer a complementary service. If you build or remodel homes, they can design either architecturally or provide interior design services for your clientele. So it's really a match made in heaven. What do you say? Should we get started?
Yes, and I have 3 questions for you today. So question number 1, if you're ready. How should a builder approach architects and interior designers?
Yes, that is the question. Like, how do I get started? And we've talked about this before. We're going to use this term that some of you have been listening for a while, you've heard before, which is WIIFM. That is an architect's and interior designer's favorite radio station. Of course, WIIFM stands for
What's in it for me?
Me, exactly. So when I'm going to approach them, I have to take my builder glasses off and I have to put my architect and interior designers on. And so we're going to go to them with an offer that they simply can't refuse. Now, one of the things you have to keep in mind is that most of their business comes from referral and repeat business. They don't do a whole lot of heavy advertising. It's mostly word of mouth. So the number 1 consideration that they have is, if I refer you, will you make me look good? Or more importantly, if I refer you, will you make me look bad? Because they want to look good in the eyes of their client because they are relying on that client to either come back and use them again for another project, or they're going to refer friends, family, coworkers, and neighbors to them for their business. So again, you've got to come at them with that angle and always approach them as what is the benefit for them? Why would they want to partner with you? And then again, we'll move on to another question here too, is that you're going to give them an offer that they can't refuse. Any thoughts on that, Diana?
So yeah, that's amazing because you never think about that, why the others will not send the referral to you, but it's that maybe they will associate me with that referral and then I will break the relationship. So I think it's important to assure someone, a client, when, hey, I will take care of your referral and make sure you have that conversation saying that, hey, you're safe. This is how I will approach the referral. So they will feel confident to send you new leads and prospects.
That's right. Most important thing is you never want to make them look bad in front of their
Yes.
client, because if
Yeah.
they are going to put their reputation on the line to refer
Right.
you, you have to do whatever you can to protect that reputation. And of course, this is a long-term relationship. This is not just a one-off. So that's what's the utmost consideration. So that's what's going to be in the back of their mind. So as you do approach an interior designer or an architect, that's the mentality to have, and that's how the conversation has to go. Is like, hey, here's what I'm going to do to make you look good, to make sure you get more referral business, and to make sure that this customer is so happy with you recommending me as the builder that they're going to not only refer you, but they may come back for repeat business as well. So primary consideration is right there. All right.
Right. Question number 2. Which architects and interior designers should a builder target?
So what I have heard at talking to builders around the country is that there's 2 types of architects and interior designers. There is the architect that pretty much never refers builders out. They just do their design, they get paid, and they move on to the next client. And then there is the architect that actually will keep a pool of recommended builders. And as they go through the design process and learn about the needs, wants, and wishes of the clients, they will try to match the builder that is a best fit for the project and the client. And so obviously you're not going to have anything good come from partnering with an architect that is only going to take clientele from you, not that it's never going to give clientele from you. So that's the first thing you need to establish is is this architect or interior designer actually is part of their process or their offer to their clients, where they would help match their project to a builder. Okay, so number 1 consideration. Number 2, of course, is going to be service area. I mean, do they work in your service area? And then number 3, really, really important, is the types of homes and or projects they design. So most builders want to do the bigger and bigger, more expensive, elaborate projects so they can make more from less clientele. However, if you don't have the infrastructure to say do a really, really high-end project, it doesn't make sense to try to target that particular builder or that particular architect, excuse me, because they're going to look at you and say, they're going to question if you're capable of doing this, and they're probably never going to send somebody your way. So you want to make sure you're, again, targeting that type of architect that is willing to send somebody your way that feels like, yes, you are a great fit to fulfill the project that I've designed for my client. Now, a couple of things for consideration there. Number 1 is you should have some sort of portfolio or believable. There's got to be something believable about when you come to that architect and say, look, I can fulfill these projects. You need to have your own portfolio, your own references, case studies, that sort of thing that can lend some credibility to just you getting together and having a conversation with them. And the second thing that you really need to focus on is again, do you want to give them some exclusivity? Is it going to be that type of relationship, or perhaps you want to look at some different offerings that you give, and you might want to say, well, I want to have an architect here that does, say, ADUs as an example. Okay, I want to partner for them, and they're my ADUs. But you also might do additions, whole house renovations, maybe custom homes. So then you can actually pick and choose those architects in your service area with those project types or home types that are a good fit for you. And certain architects are also known for certain motifs. So there might be one that does a lot of very modern homes, right? Well, if you're not known as a modern home builder, they're probably not going to give you a whole lot of work. However, if you are known as a modern home builder, okay, it's a really good fit. So you really are trying to complement their skills with your skills. Any thoughts on that, Diana?
So I can share from my experience as a client that I learned that on the hard way, just choosing an architect that without infrastructure and all the support. And I had to look for that by myself, and it was not pleasant. So
No. It is not pleasant, right? And okay, I'm just going to go out on a limb here. You're probably not going to refer that architect
Absolutely,
to
yes.
somebody else, right? So that's the one thing that they are trying to avoid at all costs, is to lose that referral relationship with the
Right.
client.
Yeah. Because then, okay, they will do the project, but then what? I need to implement that project.
Yeah, exactly. It's one thing to design it. It's another thing.
Exactly.
Again, it's them putting their reputation on the line by saying, here's a builder that I would recommend. Because if things fall apart with you, and that's the biggest challenge, of course, is just getting the relationship started, is because you don't have that history. Once you have that history established with that architect, and there is that trusted relationship, then things get a whole lot easier. It's just getting the flywheel going, which we're going to talk about next with our third question.
Yes, and I have one more question for you. How can a builder start to network with local architects and interior designers?
Yeah, so where do I start? It's like, okay, Rick, I like this idea. I want to build my network up of architects and interior designers, increase my business to business referrals. Wonderful. All right, so you got to have a method to the madness. Again, we talked about how you want to approach an architect. We talked about the type of architects and interior designers that you may want to target. So now the question is, how do I do that? What does that roadmap look like? All right, so the first thing you want to do is you want to come up with an offer. Okay, so this is, again, really, we've talked about this before, and when you're advertising or marketing to your end users or your clients, is you have to give them an offer, and that offer is going to vary at different stages of your sales process. You're going to give the same type of offer to a potential referral partner, like an architect or interior designer. So you start with an offer that they can't refuse. I can guarantee you this, that if you contact an architect and you say, hey, I am looking for an architect to help design homes for my clients in such and such an area and such a price point, if that's a fit for their target market, they're going to take your call. Conversely, if you come to an interior designer and say, I would like to bring my clients to you to offer interior design services, and the type of homes that you build, the type of clients you work with are the same target market as that interior designer, they will take your call. So they will not refuse an offer to bring them business. Okay, so that is how you're going to get your foot in the door, is again, offer to bring them business. Now, you might be thinking, well, Rick, I don't have anybody to bring to them. That's okay. You're simply going to use that offer as a way to get your foot in the door and establish that relationship. So, hey, yeah, I'd like to meet with you. Sit down, Diana. I'd like to understand a little bit more about how you work, fee structure, type of clientele you prefer to work with, and we want to start promoting you to our clients. They're going to take your call. So again, give them an offer that they can't refuse. All right. So next, once you have your foot in the door, now what you want to do is you want to introduce the concept of saying, hey, Diana, what I'd really love to do is create a mutually beneficial long-term relationship with you. Now, that's a pretty way of saying, if I scratch your back, I want you to scratch mine. In other words, if I bring you a client, are you willing to give me a client in return? So how do they like to work with builders? Again, one of those first questions. Do they like to try to match their clients and their projects to a builder where they're going to send you referrals? So going back to one of those criteria when you approach an architect, it's just asking that question: how do you prefer to work with builders? If they do that, okay, game on. If they're like, nope, we only design and we let the client figure it out for themselves, okay, maybe that's not a good architect or interior designer that you want to work with. Next, cross promotion. So this is a big one. When we partner with builders, one of the things we struggle with the most is getting really high quality visual images and video for their website, because that is like the number one item that a prospective home building client or custom home client or renovation client is looking for, is they're looking for design ideas. Now, architects obviously have a portfolio of homes that they have designed. Oftentimes they have photos to go with that. So you can partner with an architect and you can say, look, I want to promote your projects on my website. And then you can give them credit in the images and or videos. You might even be so kind to give them a backlink, to, again, linking back to their website. Same thing with interior designers. Show some of the work that they have done, because you need that content anyway. And obviously they do really cutting edge stuff. And that's the kind of things, if you're trying to do a high-end design build type offering, that's what you need to have on your website. So that cross promotion is really paramount. And they're usually very happy to get their stuff out there because they're looking just to get more exposure like you are. Okay, the other thing you can do from a cross promotion standpoint is you can do co events. So you might do, if you guys do a project together, you can obviously do an open house where you can meet the builder, meet the architect. You can do a home show type events together. You might even do a webinar event together. You might even do, a white paper, something for a lead magnet on your website together. Joint advertising is another thing. Okay, so when you affiliate yourself with an architect or architects or interior designers, obviously you get a lot of cross promotion. Well, you can split budgets this way, and because you really have the same target market. And then finally, I think this is the key. This is really where the make it or break it is, that you get a joint client. So you have a case study. In other words, so either you bring somebody to them or they're bringing somebody to you, and you're going to work together to do this project. Then you can document it, and then oftentimes you have a built-in referral, or at least a review or testimonial of the architectural interior design services along with the building services that you provide. Now, what's really important here is that this is worth spending some money on in the form of incentivizing the client. So what I mean is that if you have a joint client, whether you are, I would say, incentivizing them on saying, giving them some additional services. And I don't like the word discount. I don't think you should discount your services. But I think what you can do is you can provide some additional services that would not cost them anything. So the end result would be you would have a higher end home, a higher end remodeling project, something that has a really cool finish level. That's what you're looking for. And you always want to ask to make sure that they agree up front to provide some sort of a testimonial or review. The best would be a video testimonial in their project talking about the experience of working with the architect, interior designer, and builder. Now, from a communication schedule, there's 2 words to keep in mind. Number 1, you got to be persistent, and number 2, you have to be consistent. So persistent to get your foot in the door. So this can take weeks, months, sometimes years. You just have to continue to knock on that door to try to get your foot in the door. And then once you do get that relationship established, you have to be consistent with it. So when I'm coaching salespeople, talking about or B2B relationships, say with realtors, what we talk about again is it's a 90-10 approach. So you have your top 10 list of realtors. These are the realtors that are actively doing a lot of business in your service area for your types of homes and or remodeling projects and your price point. So you're maybe only going to find 10, sometimes less than that. So that's the ones you're going to stay really persistent with your communication, lunches, happy hours, dinners, golfing, whatever it might be. But continue to network with them and stay top of mind by really being that face-to-face, pressing the flesh, type of relationship. And then you're going to have everyone else. So you might have a different approach to just trying to search out and find new architects. And that can be a combination of email and text messaging, and a lot of that can be automated. And so you can wait for someone to raise their hand. And then once they raise their hand, you can actually, start your face-to-face approach from there. So got to be persistent, got to be consistent. That is how I would start to network with local architects and interior designers. Any final thoughts, Diana?
Well, there are so many activities, and all you have to do is to start, and then just take it from there, and just build a network. That's the very important thing that will bring you business in the future.
Yep. And ideally, if you have a client that you could bring to them to start that relationship, that's usually going to be the best way to get the relationship started. In other words, you give them something first, and then once that relationship is established, they're much more likely to reciprocate that and bring a client to you in the future. Yep. So I hope this was helpful. And if you would like to talk more about this or any other way that you can attract, capture, and convert high quality leads so you too can pick and choose your clients and jobs, just use the link below to schedule your strategy call. And we'll be happy to talk more about your business and see if we might be able to help you grow not only in revenue, but also in profitability. So for my brothers and sisters in Christ, may the grace of the Lord Jesus Christ, the love of God, and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with you all always. We'll see you next time on Conversations That Convert.